For Hype Plus, I'm Symphony Thompson. For every decade in music, there have been a number of beautiful and talented R&B girl groups. But there's a special kind of girl group that comes few and far between that consists of girls or women who are actually sisters. Namely, bands such as the Pope Sisters emerged as early as the 1950s. The Emotions formed in the 60s, and Sister Sledge, well, they took the 70s. The new millennium introduced us to another band of sisters from Atlanta, Georgia, Cherish. They came on the scene in their low-rise capri pants, tilted hats, and belly rings with the nation snapping and rocking to one of their biggest hits, Do It To It. As members of a group, the ladies have gone their separate ways, with select group members going on to write and produce some of R&B's biggest current hits. Although they are forever connected as sisters, their time on the scene as Cherish would not last as long as everyone expected. Here's what happened to Cherish. Born into a family of music in Maywood, Illinois, Cherish includes Farrah, the oldest sister, the middle sister Neosha, and the youngest twins, Fallon and Felicia. Their mother and father were both musicians, their father having toured with acts like Earth, Wind, and Fire. When trying to come up with a name for the group, their father asked, "What do you cherish? Do you cherish what you do?" And well, Cherish, the girl group, was born.
My father actually heard us singing one day, and ever since then he was like, "Wow, they have talent."
And we were like 2, 4, and 6 when we started together because we're all sisters. But professionally it was like since we were like 7, 9, and 11.
Growing up on the south side of Atlanta, Georgia, as close friends with artists like Usher and Ciara, Cherish was basically born into the industry. Although most of us discovered the group in 2006, they first gained recognition with a feature on the Brat single, In Love With You, in 2003. The song would not do well, but did enough for Cherish to get noticed. Their first single was Miss P, produced by Jermaine Dupri and written by Candy Burrs, featuring the Brat, released the same year through Warner Brothers. It was a song that should have been an instant banger, but stayed mostly underground and didn't gain as much traction as some of their future songs would. Consequently, their original planned debut album, The Moment, was shelved. In an interview, Felicia recalled, "I guess the good thing about the experience is we learned a lot. We were working with Jermaine Dupri, who's a beautiful person, as well as an industry veteran. So, while overall growing up as sisters in the industry was a struggle, at the same time, it did definitely strengthen us for when we eventually came out with our first release in 2006. For the next 3 years, the group would continue working and pushing towards their goal of becoming a successful girl group. One day, while writing music in their room, as they did often, the sisters penned the song Do It To It. That would go on to propel them into stardom. Fallon revealed in an interview that they had written the record before they even had a record deal. A friend of the family, an intern and DJ at Atlanta's Hot 97.5, Chris Lovaleva, who would later be known as Ludacris, would be the first to play the song on the radio. The song did so well that it got the attention of many different labels, and Cherish would end up singing with Capitol Records. Do It To It would go on to be a big part of the Snap movement that gave us a bunch of songs and dances out of Atlanta that we'll never forget. The song was a commercial success and remained on BET's 106 & Park video countdown for the show's limit of 65 weeks before it was retired. Do It To It was followed by their actual debut album, Unappreciated. The sisters recalled this album being special to them because it allowed them to express themselves more maturely. In 2006, they told SingersRoom.com, "With this album, we have more creative control. When we came out in 2003, we were young and we didn't have much to say in what went down. But this time around, we were able to write every song on the album, which makes this album very personal for all of us." The album's title track, Unappreciated, gave us all the personal touch that the ladies aimed to express and brought more of the R&B vibe that preceding girl groups had given. Although at the time, the ladies felt their second single should have been another up-tempo banger. The label proved they made the right choice, as Unappreciated remains to be a timeless song that a lot of people can relate to. And although it didn't do as well as their first single commercially, the cultural impact holds just as much weight as a chart topper. The album debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200, making it one of the only R&B girl group projects to hit the chart's top 5 in almost a year. In addition to their own mini tour to promote the album, Cherish then joined Chris Brown for his Up Close and Personal tour in November of 2006, along with acts like Neo, Lil Wayne, Jules Santana, and them Franchise Boys. The tide would begin to turn with the release of Cherish's second studio album, The Truth, in 2008. Although very popular among fans, the group's second effort would not be as big of a commercial success as their debut. The album birthed the singles Killer featuring Young Jock and the fan favorite Amnesia. Around the time of this album's release, the music business was changing due to the social media emerging and internet music streaming. In an interview with You Know I Got Soul, Fallon and Felicia stated, "It was very tough. It was such a weird time in music because it was right when social media just had started to pop up. It was right between Facebook and Instagram. We didn't have the same exposure that artists have now. Even if labels don't push their music, you can still push it because your fans can find it." It was a weird time in the music industry at that time as well, because labels didn't know how they were going to make money off music anymore. At that time, everyone was downloading music off of LimeWire, and there were no iTunes or Spotify. Labels were running crazy at this point, trying to figure out what they were going to do with those artists. We were some of those artists. They wanted the instant numbers, and that's who they pushed. When The Truth came out, it was such a weird time because a lot of our fans didn't even know how to find us after that happened. It was all about the labels, but now it's the opposite. You don't really need a label to push your music and have success. Although the album was produced by industry heavy hitters like Jazzy Faye and Brian Michael Cox, the group would not be able to withstand the change in times and would be the last album to date for Cherish. There were no talks of the group splitting up after that. However, in the spring of 2008, twins Fallon and Felicia were set to record and release music as a duo called F&F. In 2009, a song called Infected was leaked to the public and further stirred the group's breakup rumors. Although they had denied it up until this point, by 2010, Farrah and Nyosha had officially left Cherish. Felicia and I knew that we wanted to keep it moving with the music, even if our sisters were at a different transition at the time. We wanted to make sure we stayed in the industry, and we kept trying to give content to Cherish fans even if we weren't together. When things got shaky for Cherish, Fallon and Felicia made a pact. They decided that before they would give it all up, they had to write 100 songs within the year. If by the time they wrote the 100 songs they didn't get the results they wanted, they would bow out of the industry. But their experiment would prove to be fruitful, with both Fallon and Felicia earning publishing contracts, Fallon with Universal and Felicia with Sony. In an interview, Felicia said, "We always wanted to find new ways to reinvent ourselves and reintroduce ourselves to the world. We eventually settled in writing because it was fulfilling and it was our passion. We knew that we could do the same things behind the scenes." The twins would go on to rack up major writing credits for artists like Tamar Braxton, Normani, and more. Fallon co-wrote Danny Lay's double platinum hit Easy featuring Chris Brown, and Felicia co-wrote Seven Streeters' longtime #1 hit Before I Do alongside her husband Bernard Harvey, professionally known as Harv. The two met in a recording studio in Atlanta and have been making music together ever since. The couple also wrote Justin Bieber's Peaches for the summer of 2021. The fate of Cherish was a bit unclear from 2010 and beyond, with the twins jumping back and forth from the Cherish brand to F&F. They talked about putting the group back together, but it didn't happen. Dates for new music were announced, but then pushed back. More music was leaked. Music was released as Cherish the Duo, but with songs featuring the former members. If anything was clear, it was that the original 4 members group was no more. While the former members of Cherish, Nyosha and Farrah had settled into building families, the twins Fallon and Felicia were diving into more business ventures. Following up on a 2012 pilot reality episode directed by their friend Carlos King, Fallon and Felicia joined the cast of BET's The Encore in 2021, which documented the formation of R&B supergroup Blueprint alongside Shamari DeVoe of Black and Keely Williams of 3LW. The twins shared with WBLS that King originally approached them with the idea because he thought fans would want to know what the ladies have been up to. Fallon added, he also wanted to showcase why girl groups don't stay together, because most of the time it's not a breakup. It's also good to see what girl groups go through, how they react to one another, and how it is growing up in the industry. In 2021, for a full circle moment, the group's breakout hit Do It To It was remixed by Orlando-based DJ and producer Acraze. The song went from a TikTok dance challenge to a dance and electronic Billboard chart topper. Fallon and Felicia have since joined Acraze in performing the remix at the EDC Festival in Las Vegas. With R&B currently taking center stage and remakes being the hottest trend of the times, The question remains of whether the princesses of the Y2K era will make a comeback. According to the youngest of the sisters, that's something that's never off the table. Felicia told You Know I Got Soul, "When my sisters are ready, we'll have no problem doing it." In any group, you're going to have those moments in life where you have to respect what people want at that time. Everything is about timing. In the beginning, it was that we were all younger and we were like, we want to do this. Then our sisters had kids and they had different things they wanted to explore. You really have to take those feelings into consideration in a group. Fallon added, "The thing about Cherish is that we are sisters. If that's something we decided to do tomorrow, we can make it happen. That's always going to be near and dear to us. I definitely don't think Cherish is done." It's great to know that the ladies of Cherish did what they each wanted to do on their own terms. Any girl group coming after them can definitely take a note of their loyalty and passion for the craft of singing and songwriting. Whether they continue on or leave the industry altogether, we hope that they are proud of the legacy they've created. Stay up to date with the latest news and comedy by subscribing here to our YouTube channel. Follow Comedy Hype across all social media and look out for new original content on our new streaming service at comedyhype.com. For Hype Plus, I'm Symphony Thompson.